Hello and welcome. So, you're a multi-cloud pro. You know the security game inside and out. But you also know that every cloud speaks its own language, has its own philosophy. Today we are diving deep into Azure's unique security language. We're going to get past the basics and really understand how its very structure is the key to building a real digital fortress.
Look, you've probably locked down environments in AWS and GCP. IAM, VPCs, security groups, it's all second nature to you. So you might be thinking, okay, what's so different here? What's the catch? And the answer isn't just about the tools, it's about the fundamental architecture. That's what we're going to unpack right now.
All right, let's get right to the heart of it. If there's just one thing you take away from this, it has to be this. In Azure, structure is security. They're not two separate things, they're the same thing. Seriously. The way you organize your stuff from the very beginning, that's what decides whether you can actually govern and secure it later on. It isn't an add-on you sprinkle on top, it's the foundation, the blueprint, the whole shebang.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with Azure's golden rule, quickly cover the shared responsibility model, which you probably know, then follow a company's journey from a messy startup to a well-oiled machine, and wrap it all up with a solid checklist you can start using like tomorrow.
Okay, first things first. We have to start at the absolute top. I'm talking about the container that holds literally everything else in your Azure world.
And that container is the Entra ID tenant. The best way to think about it? It's the deed to your digital plot of land. It is your organization in the cloud. It's the ultimate boundary for who gets in and who doesn't. Every user, every group, all of it lives right here. Before you even spin up a single server, you've got an Entra ID tenant.
All right, now for a concept that should feel pretty familiar, but it's super important to see how it clicks into place with Azure structure, and that is the shared responsibility model. So what's so interesting here is just how clear the dividing line is. Microsoft's got the physical stuff, the buildings, the air conditioning, the actual hardware. But the second you're talking about anything digital, the ball is in your court. And notice what's sitting right at the top of your to-do list? Identity and directory infrastructure. See how that ties right back to the Entra ID tenant we just talked about? Securing that tenant is job number one, because it holds the keys to absolutely everything else you're going to build.
We've drawn the line in the sand. You're on the hook for securing everything in the cloud. But what does that look like when you're just getting started? To really hammer home why this Azure structure stuff is so critical, let's follow a story we've all seen before. A small company dipping its toes into the cloud for the first time. So they've got their plot of land, that's the Entra ID tenant. The very first thing they do is create a subscription. You could think of this as the first building on that land. It's a box where they put all their stuff. Servers, databases, you name it. It's also how they get billed, which keeps things nice and simple at the start. And in the early days, life is good. One tenant, one subscription, they just toss everything in there together. Production, dev, test, all mixed up. It's super fast, it's easy, but that speed, it comes with a hidden cost. They're racking up a kind of organizational debt, and the bill is about to come due. Right, so the company starts to grow, and that single building, well, it gets crowded, it gets messy, fast. What was perfectly fine for a tiny team becomes a huge liability for a bigger one. And the warning signs are always the same, aren't they? Who pays for what? No idea. It's all one giant bill. How do we stop a junior dev from accidentally nuking a production database? Well, we can't really. Their permissions are the same everywhere. Trying to apply a super strict policy for prod while letting the dev team experiment, it's a total nightmare. Governance isn't just difficult, it's pretty much impossible. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? If you have no way to enforce your rules from the top, all your security policies are just suggestions, nice ideas. And let's be real, in cloud security, suggestions don't stop attacks. You need a system that enforces order, not one that just crosses its fingers and hopes for the best. And this is where management groups come in and save the day. If the tenant is the land and subscriptions are the buildings, then management groups are the zoning laws. And why do we have zoning laws? So you don't end up with a factory right next to a school. It's the exact same idea here. Management groups enforce that separation and apply rules from a higher level, making sure your high-stakes production environment can't have the same relaxed rules as your freewheeling dev sandbox. And boom, here's the transformation. You see the company moving from that one messy, jumbled subscription to a clean, logical hierarchy. They create separate subscriptions for production and for development. Maybe they even spin up another one for shared stuff like networking or security monitoring.
Then they tuck these subscriptions neatly under management groups that lay down the law. Prod gets the iron-fisted policies, Dev gets more freedom, and that separation is crystal clear. This is what control looks like. This is security that can actually scale.
Okay, so let's take everything we learned from that company's painful journey and turn it into a straightforward, actionable plan just for you.
So here it is, your starting strategy. 1. Design your management group hierarchy first. Seriously, do this before you deploy anything. Trying to fix this later is 10 times harder. It's like framing the house before you put up the drywall. 2. Create separate subscriptions. This isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a core security principle. It creates a blast wall between your dev environment and your production environment. 3. Centralize all your security tools. Put your logging and monitoring in one place. Why? Because you can't protect what you can't see. This gives you that single pane of glass to spot trouble. 4. Apply your big, important security policies as high up as you can. This is the magic of inheritance. You set a rule once, like enforcing MFA, and it cascades down everywhere, automatically. And finally, 5. Within each subscription, use resource groups to bundle related services together. This is your last layer of organization, making it way easier to manage an app's lifecycle, permissions, and costs as a single unit.
So by following this blueprint, you've built a really solid foundation. You've gone from a single messy room to a well-designed fortress with clear boundaries and zones. The big takeaway here is that your governance structure is now one of your most powerful security tools, not just an administrative chore. So the next logical question is, okay, what rules are you actually going to enforce inside these walls? And that, my friends, opens up the whole world of Azure policy, security baselines, and threat detection. But it all, and I mean all of it, starts with getting the structure right.